All right, who wants to read chapter 11 of Jemima Small? This one is called Dust. On Sunday, it wasn't raining, which meant I had to help Dad clear out the garage with its 15 years of accumulated junk. My punishment for smashing a few stupid beakers. I explained to Dad that most of the stuff in there came from before I was even born, so technically it wasn't my responsibility. But he said that was irrelevant and handed me some overalls. It's gargantuan, I said as Dad swung open the double doors. There's no way I can clear all of this out in one day. There's always next weekend as well, Dad said, laughing. I surveyed the never-ending stacks of boxes, old toys, planks of wood, tools, and approximately 10 billion cobwebs. This is so unfair, I said, stepping into the overalls and rolling up the sleeves. Smashing the beakers was an accident. I'm being punished for an accident. Mrs. Savage didn't seem to think it was an accident. She wasn't there, so how would she even know? Dad sighed. I'm not getting into this again. You are helping clear this out, and that's that. A bit of physical labor isn't going to do you any harm, is it? I glared at him. Sorry, I didn't mean. I blew out my breath and tied my hair back. Fine, let's get on with it. But if I find any disease-carrying insects or rodents, I'm going back inside. Dad laughed. Deal. I'm sure they'll all be hibernating at this time of year anyway. I doubt it, I said as Hermione patted in. She rubbed against an old box, then caught a spider in her claws and started chewing on it. Gross! See, Dad said with a grin. You've even got your own spider catcher. What more could you want? Basic human rights? Dad chuckled, handed me a broom. I'll bring you an apple juice. After a couple of hours, my arms felt like they'd moved 1,000 boxes, but the garage was only half clear. Whoa, well done, Dad said. Give me a hand getting this lot into the van, then you can have a break while I go to the tip. We filled up the van, and Dad shouted to Jasper that he was going. He still thought Jasper needed to look after me, even though I'd been B13 in a matter of days. 35 days, to be precise. Give the floor a sweep while I'm gone, hey? I thought you said I could have a break. Dad got into the van and gave me the look through the window. It will take you 2 minutes. I watched Dad drive off, then sat on an old armchair at the back of the garage, watching sunlight stream through the gaps in the open door. Dust particles floated in the air, glittering like tiny stars. And this moment I will probably remember forever, because there, right in front of me, was a box covered in a thick layer of dust with one word written on it in black pen. Joni. The whole garage could have collapsed around me and I wouldn't have noticed. There's this story in Greek mythology called Pandora's Box. It's about a box with all this evil stuff inside. Only Pandora doesn't know what's inside. She only knows she isn't supposed to open it. Sitting there with that box in front of me with my mom's name on it, that's sort of how I felt. Like opening it might tell me something I didn't want to know. Maybe why she left. I was too scared to open it and too scared not to. I looked at it for a minute, surrounded by dust and cobwebs and rusty toys and Jasper's old scooter, and then I stood up, wiped the dust off the box with my sleeve, and opened it. Something gold caught the light. It was a jewelry box with a broken clasp at the front. Inside were some silver bangles that had tarnished and turned almost black. They felt cold and smelled kind of rusty. Normally, when I thought about Mom, I got that horrible empty feeling. But looking through her old stuff, I didn't. It felt like goosebumps, only warm. Like for once, she didn't feel so far away. There were a few boring-looking documents, some old postcards, a framed certificate from an accountancy course dated a few years after I was born, some old gloves, and a CD. I pulled out a brown envelope and some photos dropped out. I picked them up, and there we were, in our back garden in the summer. I was sitting on Mom's lap, looking at a piece of chalk or something in my hand, maybe 3 years old. Dad had his arm around her, and Jasper was standing next to him, pulling a funny face. Above Mom's head were little circles of lens flare, those colored spots you get in photos when the light's too bright. She was leaning against Dad with her arm wrapped around my tummy. There she was, my Mom, smiling into too bright sunlight, and I was sitting on her lap like it was no big deal, as if she would be there forever. I looked closely at Mom's face, searching for clues about why she left us, but I couldn't find any. I guess people don't wear clues on their faces when they decide to disappear from your life. Although, the photo was taken a few years before she left, so maybe she just hadn't decided yet. Before Dad got back from the tip, I went and hid Mom's box under my bed. Dad never even wanted to talk about her, so I doubted he'd want to see her things. Besides, I was worried he might want to take it to the tip. I shifted a few boxes out of the way so I could start sweeping. And that's when I saw the paintings. There must have been 20 of them. Some of sea creatures, some of the piers, some of me and Jasper, and loads of Mum. In one, she had bright orange hair flowing out like flames. One was just of her eyes filled with tiny stars, as though the whole universe was inside them. I was sat down looking at them as Dad's van pulled up. "What have you got there?" he called as he walked in. I quickly stood up. They fell down as I was sweeping. Dad picked up a painting and then slowly looked through the rest. "Gosh, I painted some of these 15, 20 years ago. Forgot I kept them." He gazed at the painting of Mum with her hair like flames and shook his head. "Feels like I did them in a former life." I stood next to him and looked at the thick swirls of orange paint around Mum's face. "You must have loved her a lot to paint her like that." Dad smiled, his eyes still fixed on the painting. "Like what? Like she's a goddess or something?" "Yeah, I loved your mum, Jemima. I loved her a lot, but..." Dad sighed and put the painting down. "I should probably just take them to the charity shop." He picked up a painting of me and Jasper. Huge yellow clouds floated above our heads and the sea was pink in the background. "Maybe I'll keep this one." I took a deep breath. "Don't you ever wonder where she is?" Dad put his arm around me, the painting of me and Jasper still in his other hand. "I'm usually too busy worrying about what you are up to." We walked out of the garage towards the house, followed closely by Hermione. Dad leaned down to stroke her black fur. "Luna not got up to Fiji yet, hey? Come on, let's get some lunch." Dad opened the front door. "Now, who do you think should wake Luna up, you or me?" I said. "Last time Dad made me wake Luna up, I had to participate in her sun-worshipping ritual. It involved drinking nettle tea and chanting. Definitely Jasper." That's the end of chapter 11. See you next time.